Hey everybody, how are you? This is Jean Henderson Pierre, with another uh, beer and TV ramble. I haven't done one in a couple of days. I've been dealing with some personal stuff, and I figured today would be a good day. I can, talk about beer, have something to smile about, something to laugh about. But anyway, today's beer we are reviewing is Old Milwaukee. First brewed in 1890. Introduced in 1955 by Joe Schlitz, Joseph Schlitz, Schlitz Brewery. 1955 as a value beer. 4.6% ABV, an American adjunct lager. Joseph Schlitz, as well as Anheuser-Busch InBev, Budweiser, and Schlitz beer. Joseph Schlitz, makers of Schlitz beer. Schlitz lager were probably two most populars back then, back in the 50s. Of course, that somehow, some way, the Schlitz family, something happened, some bad management, whatever, and then their rule on beer kind of waned. Now, if you want to mention any of the lines of Schlitz beer or Joseph Schlitz beers, they're now all under the Pabst Blue Ribbon brand. And many of those brands of all the brands, they're kind of viewed as the sort of the value price beers. Of course, Old Milwaukee's under that brand. Mentioned Schlitz, PBR. Those are sort of the retro beers that people back then grew up drinking. First time I had Old Milwaukee was in 1999. There were very few places up in New Jersey I saw this beer at, and they had them in 16-ounce cans, 20 at that time. I saw them mostly in six packs. I bought them, and that was the first time I had it. Was 1999, and as some of you may all remember the commercials. Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. There'd be some group of guys or a family or whatever, group of friends gathering. Whether out mountain biking or riding bikes, or maybe fishing, or and at the end they decide to get a beer, and they're sitting there barbecuing, eating burgers, or grilling fish or whatever they caught, or building some project, and they decide, hey, let's get something to eat, and hey, let's go to Old Milwaukee, and Old Milwaukee Light, and of course the group of guys saying, hey, it doesn't get any better than this, so. And I thought those coaches were kind of cool, but anyway. As you see, look at the color here. The traditional American adjunct lager look, very clear. Very little lacing on this beer here. You see, has that typical adjunct lager smell to it. It's not bad. Been a warm day today here in Mobile, so. And look at the time here. I gotta wrap this thing up. 6:45. So what? This beer is not. It is what it is. It's an adjunct lager, and now Old Milwaukee, as I mentioned, are viewed as value price beers now. I got this at the can at a store. Place I go to, you have beers like this for about like 70 cents, 75 cents. So I saw it and decided to go ahead and pick one up the other day. I have a few of those beers like that, and it's viewed as a go-to beer. I look at it as a go-to beer for me. Very clear, nice yellow color. It's very refreshing. Um, Very easy to go down. The brothers give it a very bad score on Beer Advocate. The brothers give it a bad score. They say it's awful. Beer Advocate is poor. They give it a 63. Rate beer, they diss any beer. Again, they don't like no beer. They don't like any beer like this. They can't stand it. So I'm not even going to bother to ask what rate beer, what rate beer scores it. Um, American Natural Lagers have a place. I think for many, it's one of those, retro, one of those, I won't say traditional beers, but the name itself, namesake, history, tradition that people, like and enjoy, because it's probably one of the first beers that many of us had growing up. When you first started drinking was this, or High Life, another retro beer, PBR, of course, as I mentioned, Schlitz. But these are those retro beers. I don't see them very rarely at some of the bars that I go to in the area, Mobile, or even when I go back home to Jersey. I don't very rarely see them. If I do, they're pretty much obscure. So, and these beers have a place, and today's a hot day, perfect day. A beer like this would be great. Price wise, runs about a 12 pack about now 764, and it's amazing. A lot of these retro beers, they like to say, PBR became popular. This beer, Old Milwaukee, again about in the late 90s. You didn't see these beers in the early 90s. They were kind of like obscure and disappeared, but came back on the scene. The trendy guy, the flannel shirt guy, or the guy, the computer guy, computer geek, nerd, whatever. They started to you know um, gravitate towards these beers. I remember was with a friend of mine's, and I said, PBR, man, I haven't drank this in a while. I mean, why is this popular? Well, these beers are popular again, and then they are. They've done very little advertising, but young folks are starting to, at that time, started to gravitate towards them and began to make them popular. And then, of course, at that time, they were very cheap. Now, as is the case with a lot of these retro beers, the prices will somehow inch back up again. Once something a young person buys a lot of, or they go to the store or liquor store, or whatever, and they start buying it in droves, and these are the millennials or who are getting this, and these companies don't do any advertising for these beers. I very rarely see any advertising for Old Milwaukee, you know, on TV now, or even print or online. For television, definitely I don't see any. And now, you know, they see, hey, what's going on here? The beer companies look like, what's happening here? What's this about? Hmm. And then they see it and they see it, and then of course they'll start to say, okay, we're making money off it, and let's just increase the prices of our turnover. We can't stop producing the making it coming out the barrels, coming out out of the brewery. So um, Pabst Blue Ribbon is an American-owned company, even though there is a Russian American who owns it. Russian, but he's a Russian American, but it's still an American-owned company. Their beers are in the top 20 best-selling beers in America. Pabst Brewing Company, of course, their signature beer PBR is on that list. I haven't seen Schlitz or Old Milwaukee on it, but um, well, originally before the price of this was like seven. Like I said, going back to the price of this beer, 12 pack, and that's all I see is 12 packs of beer. Now, a couple of months ago, maybe 2 years ago, make that 3 years ago here in Mobile, I saw it in in 24 packs. This as well as the OM Light, Old Milwaukee Light. So um, whatever the reason, decided to, hey, let's raise it up and do whatever. Has a good crisp, clean finish. I like it. pair it well with, like I said, a nice cheese, a pepper jack cheese, or you know, a lot of stuff spicy. Um, nachos. Um, you know, rice. Hot rice and beans. A lot of hot sauce. You got some jambalaya, some shrimp. This is a good beer to pair with it. You know, um, a poor boy. This would be go great with a poor boy. And I saw one the other at some place. I wanted to get a poor boy, but unfortunately I had to go handle something. But I'm hopefully try to do it this weekend. I got some of the games coming up this weekend. College football starts, of course. Um, all right, on a scale of 1 to 10 for a American Adjunct Lager, Old Milwaukee, I'm giving this an 8.5. It's good, not great. I maybe I'm more leaning towards because I don't really get this much. I would say PBR probably give a better score than this. Of course, Bud, and B, of course, I love Milwaukee's Best. I think it's excellent, and it's probably half the price for this, maybe about $2 less, I guess, 12 pack. But they don't have this in a 12 pack. I mean, they don't have this in a 24 pack. Or Milwaukee, I mean, excuse me, Milwaukee's Best and Milwaukee's Best Light is in a 12 pack. But and of course, these beers won a lot of awards, which is amazing that these beers get dissed and ridiculed, but they win a lot of recognition at these major, beer competitions, World Beer Cup or the Great American Beer Fest, so go figure. But anyway, that's my score on it. Tell me your thoughts and leave your comments down at the bottom. I'm John Henderson Pierre, the TV and Beer Ramble, saying thank you for watching. Keep watching and cheers.